Sid and Hannah were asleep back in the Phillips household. They remembered Andy told them last weekend he would wake them up, so they peacefully slept and waited for him to wake them up. While sleeping, Sid began to levitate in the air. His whole body floated off the bed and moved slowly away from it, before he was suddenly dropped to his carpet. "The hell?" he questioned, until Andy appeared out of nowhere in front of Sid. "The time has come. Wake your sister up," said Andy. "You should have been more gentler, Sid grumbled. Andy shrugged, chuckling, before Sid walked out of his room to inform Hannah that Andy came. 12:15 a.m. Sid and Hannah had gotten dressed and packed their gear as always. They followed Andy, who ran in front of them to guide the way. "We're heading to my house. I assume there are more soldiers," spoke Andy, puffing from running. Sid and Hannah smiled at the thought of remaining army men. "And probably more corrupt toys of mine," Andy added, making the Phillips siblings frown. "We gotta keep moving, otherwise we won't make it before sunrise," demanded Annie. The trio continued running throughout all of Tri-County until they finally reached Andy's now abandoned house. Years after the deaths of the Davises, the house had changed a lot. It rotted, decayed, and became slightly moldy due to its lack of inhabitants. "Jesus," Sid whispered. "My goodness, that was your house?" gasped Hannah. "Sadly, yes. But it's okay, because my family and I are free," Andy spoke with a frown before putting on a smile. "So, who wants to go inside with me?" Andy asked, offering a look inside the house. Both the siblings agreed to, so they held hands and followed Andy inside. Andy slowly and carefully trespassed, opening the door for both the siblings. As the trio went inside, they found more army men, which could be the rest of them. "Sweet, that must be the last of them," Sid whispered as he scooped up the remaining 70 soldiers. "Well, most of the soldiers are yours now. I'm 17 now," Andy said with a reassuring smile. "Are you sure? Why didn't you come back for them as a spirit child?" Sid asked. "Well, I had to stay away from my other toys in case they were corrupted," replied Andy. "Well, sounds reasonable," Sid replied. Andy looked up the stairs, catching the glimpse of his now abandoned room. "Say, why don't we take a look at my room?" "I'm not so sure about this, Andy," Hannah shivered. Andy walked up to Hannah, holding her hand close to him. "It's okay. I'll defend you. I promise," he spoke softly. The three looked through the room, finding the remains of its abandoned state. "Man, so much has changed ever since I left my house," Andy whispered, feeling like he was about to choke up. "Whoa, your room has not been taken care of in years," sighed Hannah, sympathizing with the 17-year-old spirit. "I'll show you my little sister's room. She had a small number of toys compared to me when we were younger," Andy spoke with a smile, wanting to show her more of his house. He realized that most of Molly's toys were either missing or destructed. Herb wasn't on her lamp, Mrs. Potato Head was damaged completely, and the 3 Barbie dolls were all pulled apart. "Whoa, those girl toys have had better days," Sid spoke with a slight chuckle. Offended, Hannah smacked him in the back of the head. "Wait, I'm sure Bo Peep was in here the night Buzz attacked me," Andy pondered, confused. At that moment, there was a sound of furniture falling down, startling the trio. "What was that?" Hannah whimpered. "Let's check it out," assured Andy. They walked to the edge of the stairs, as Andy stood in front of the siblings, shielding them with his arms. At that moment, 2 toys from the Davis family walked in. They were Bo Peep and Wheezy, the former being Bolly's former toy. Bo Peep lost her right arm, and it was replaced with a crook with a sharp needle placed on the tip. Her skirt was torn, and she had a missing shoe. In Wheezy's case, he was completely pupilless. He had scuffs, he was missing his right flipper, a chunk of his left foot was missing, and his squeaker was completely damaged. "Who dares intrudes our home as the only 2 remaining toys left?" Bo Peep confronted, spotting the 3. Who the hell are you? Sid snarled. Sid attempted to walk down the stairs to attack the toys, but Hannah grabbed him by the shoulder, restraining him. We don't mean to intrude. We were just, Hannah stammered. Wheezy and Bo Peep then realized that they were looking at Andy up the stairs. Andy, is that you? Wheezy questioned. Yes, I never knew you two were alive. But how are all the toys in this world alive? Andy replied. I have no idea, but we must extinguish all humans, Bo responded back. Wheezy nodded. Yes, I'm sorry, Andy, but it's our job to be done. What? Andy exclaimed. You can't kill Sid and Hannah! They've gone through a lot, especially Sid! That shaggy-haired guy behind you is Sid? You're teaming up with a toy killer? Bo Peep exclaimed angrily. No, Sid learned his lesson. I mean, he learned to not abuse innocent toys, but he only poaches evil toys that try to kill innocent people, Hannah spoke, trying to reason with Bo and Wheezy. I don't want to hear it, Wheezy growled. Suddenly, the inside of Wheezy's mouth glowed in an emerald shade. So did his eyes. Take cover! The Free ran out of the way before the scuffed toy penguin finally blasted a green beam out of his mouth, impacting the door of Mrs. Davis's bedroom. What will we do? They're trying to kill us now! Bo thinks I'm a traitor! Andy panicked, hiding away with the siblings. Don't worry, I've got this. You two stay here, Sid proclaimed as he stood up. Sid, no! Hannah pleaded. Sid ignored Hannah's plead, walking to battle the toys. Oh shit, he's gonna get himself killed, groaned Andy. Sid jumped near the edge of the stairs, facing Wheezy and Bo Peep. I'll show you two how to play nice, he spoke under his breath. He unzipped his backpack, grabbing out a baseball bat and a wooden board as a substitute for a shield. He ran down the stairs, running towards Wheezy. As Wheezy was about to charge another green laser at him, Sid whacked him across the room and out through one of the windows. Burr had the clear intent to stab Sid in the leg with a needle on a crook. He dodged her attempted stabs unharmed before he used the wooden board to make her perk through it. Burr struggled to pull her crook out, but with no avail, Sid picked her up alongside the floorboard. Sid busted through the door and found a steep hill before huddling Burr stuck to the board down the hill like a frisbee, never to see her again. He dusted his hands off, having completed his mission. At that moment, Wheezy came bouncing up to him to blast more lasers at him, but he kicked him straight to the steep hill, like with Burr. Sid walked back to the abandoned house where Andy and Hannah were waiting for him. Great work, Sid, but we have to get home now. I can't take any more of this apocalypse crap, Hannah whimpered. Okay, let's go home now, Sid spoke as he held Hannah by the shoulder. Andy did the same thing until... What have you done? A man said from behind. The three looked behind them, coming across a man with disheveled hair, an untucked button shirt, disheveled facial hair, and he was smoking a cigarette. Oh, hello, Sid. Long time no see, the man spoke. Who the hell are you? How do you know my name? Sid questioned. Remember me? The guy who you feared of when you were just a worthless little boy? The man snapped. Dad? Sid and Hannah spoke in unison. That's your father? Andy questioned. Mr. Phillips chuckled. I thought you knew. How did you get out of jail? Sid asked with a glare. Mr. Phillips smirked as he pulled the cigarette out of his mouth. Well, a decade ago, I heard there was this toy-pocalypse, and one of the heroes on the news was a familiar skull-shirted little turd. The other was the more patient daughter of mine. Once the war ended, I had this idea of resurrecting the toys to kill them. So, weeks ago, I snuck out of jail, found a few of the toys you destroyed, rebuilt them, and set them out to scare you. Well, I'm not scared of toys anymore, and I am not afraid of you anymore, Sid growled. Yeah, you just didn't want to admit that your alcohol level was high, Hannah snapped along with Sid. Who gives a damn about my alcoholism? Alcohol didn't damage my life. Instead, you, my stupid son, ruined my life. Don't blame me. You're the main reason I tortured all those toys when I was younger, Sid shouted. He marched towards the depraved man before Henna and Andy restrained him back. You know what? I don't have time for this. I'll meet you again tomorrow, Sydney, Mr. Phillips bidded, as he dropped his cigarette and crushed it with his boot, before walking away to hide. So, your father is an alcoholic? Andy asked softly. Yes, Sid sighed, as Henna put her hand on her brother's back to calm him down. Our dad was corrupted by so much drinks to the point he took his anger out on most of us. He had more than 10 drinks on the day he got home from the bar. He yelled at Sid for minor accidents. Over the past few days, he continued to yell at him for no reason to the point Sid became punkish. He even shouted at our mom for hardly disciplining him for his toy torturing shtick. He even hurt our dog Scud a lot, making him copy what Sid did, Henna told. Andy's eyes widened in concern before his eyes welled with small tears. I'm so sorry, he shivered. Well, I have to stay behind at my old house. I'll see you tomorrow. We understand, Henna sighed. She and Sid walked away to go home as Andy watched. He was very sympathetic for the siblings. They went through a lot more than he did. He promised that he would help them tomorrow to put the abuse behind them.